2 days ago, I participated in the 70th anniversary of the liberation of the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp in Germany. 70 years ago this spring, the entire world suddenly became aware of the Nazi plan to annihilate all the Jews on earth. Camps were liberated from Eastern Poland to Western Europe, and the entire world finally saw the true horror. British troops entered Bergen-Belsen with cameras, and within weeks, the newsreels were seen everywhere, the bulldozers pushing naked bodies into open pits, the walking skeletons, the inhuman conditions that Jews were forced to endure. I stood on one of the largest Jewish cemeteries in the world, but it's a strange cemetery. There are no gravestones, no markers. Hundreds of thousands were not just robbed of their lives, but their identities as well. But as the world finally understood the reality, the fact is, all of this was known for years by governments and this organization. The Holocaust was never just a Nazi project. The Holocaust could not have happened without the entire world looking the other way. World silence led to the Holocaust. World indifference led to the Holocaust. And sadly, when an organization as respected as the International Red Cross, the foremost humanitarian organization in the world, was faced with German defiance regarding inmates of the camps, the Red Cross did not push the matter any further. The Red Cross chose silence as well. The ICRC explained that it did not want to jeopardize its attempts to help the millions of other victims of the Nazis, including the many prisoners of war. Throughout World War II, the Red Cross seemed to be balancing its ability to what it could do in Europe without upsetting Nazi Germany. Its fear that it would be completely shut out completely. So the Red Cross made the fateful decision to tread lightly. There is no doubt that the Red Cross did much good work during World War II, but it could have done more. It should have done more. But to single out the Red Cross as the only international organization that did not speak out is unfair. The sad fact is, nobody spoke out. International organizations did not stand up to the Nazis. Very few religious leaders stood up to the Nazis. Most governments did not stand up to the Nazis until they were threatened themselves and they had no choice. All this raises a vital question of light of what is happening today in the world. How should the International Red Cross and all organizations and responsible governments deal with totalitarian regimes of today? When countries intimate and when they want to destroy cities and threaten other countries, how should the world react? What course should it take? The first lesson coming directly from the Holocaust in that face of a human catastrophe, silence is not a moral alternative. This is more important today than ever before because of what we see throughout the Middle East and Africa, and even right here in Europe. How should the world deal with humanitarian disasters? We see in Assad's Syria with over 200,000 people slaughtered and millions of refugees, or Iraq, as ISIS tears through it, slaughtering men, women, and children. From 1933 on, the entire world was intimidated by Adolf Hitler. Almost no one spoke out against him. The result was World War II, with over 60 million dead and 2 continents destroyed. When Neville Chamberlain returned from Munich holding this flimsy piece of paper that promised peace in our time, Winston Churchill said, and I quote, "You were given a choice between war and dishonor. You chose dishonor, and you'll get war." We learned, if anything, it is this: tyrants cannot be appeased, and silence is no alternative. Jews learned what silence brings. We learned a lesson the hard way. That is why the World Jewish Congress has been speaking out, also on behalf of Christians, when Christians are slaughtered in Africa and the Middle East, just because they're Christians. We, the World Jewish Congress and Jews, cannot be silent. I believe the International Red Cross has an important obligation that goes far beyond relief work. The ICRC is one of the most respected international organizations in the world, and as such, its opinions carry great weight. From the bitter lessons we learned in the Holocaust, I believe the International Red Cross should help guide the world and make the right choice. You have already proven your moral authority because you've opened up your historical records. You have admitted that you could have done more and should have done more. Even on your website today, you openly and honestly say that our, I quote, lack of action on behalf of victims of the Holocaust was the ICRC's greatest failure. It is never easy for people or organizations to be this open. And for this, I believe the ICRC should be commended. The World Jewish Congress commends you. I commend you. By doing this, you uphold the highest traditions of this great and noble organization. I hope that this gives other organizations, and frankly, other countries, the courage to open up their records on dark matters they have hidden for years. And while you should not jeopardize your political position, the world is in desperate need of leadership, this ongoing debate between right and wrong. And that is exactly what this is, a struggle between good and evil. There is no ambiguity when armies kill everyone in their path, beheading men, women, and even children. This could not be more clear, just as it was clear 70 years ago when the concentration camps were liberated. The world today faces its greatest challenge since the end of World War II. Nothing could be more important in 2015. The International Red Cross must show the world the way. You've already demonstrated noble courage. The world still looks to you again in another hour of need. The world is counting on you. I thank you very much for the chance to speak.